Everyone, welcome to Konveyor Meetup. Today we're going to go over the Konveyor roadmap. And I don't have any announcements to get into, mostly because that's what today's meetup pretty much is about. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen and I'll hand it over to James.
Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, you could probably kick us over to slide 2. So we're going to get started here on the roadmap for Konveyor. So we have a bunch of folks joining us from the different projects to kind of explain what it is they're working on and what they're going to be working on in the coming few months. Yeah, like you guys know, our goal is to help kind of facilitate both meetups, but also tools to help people kind of host, replatform, and refactor their applications to Kubernetes. You go to the next slide. Just to give you an idea of the tools that we're going to be walking through, if you hit the first button on the animation there. First one is Forklift. So we're going to look into Forklift. Forklift is a tool designed to help you rehost your virtual machines to KubeVirt. So it right now supports VMware vSphere as a source provider, and we'll talk a little bit about the roadmap on some of the things that are coming in Forklift. Next we have Crane. Crane helps you rehost your apps between Kubernetes clusters. So this was first built for helping people move between OpenShift 3 and 4, but the team is working on building a more kind of upstream first generic way to move applications between Kubernetes. And we'll talk, Marco Berube will talk through the Crane roadmap. After that, we have Move to Kube. So Move to Kube is all about replatforming your applications to Kubernetes. So these are already containerized applications in most cases. Think from whether it's Swarm or Cloud Foundry, how you make that happen. So Amit and Ashok will fill you on that. After that, we have Tackle. So Tackle is kind of a new project. It's got a lot of existing technologies that have been built in the past around the refactoring use cases for applications, and we're bringing that knowledge and experience together to build the Tackle project, which is about kind of being able to assess and analyze your applications for the suitability to be containerized. And then finally, we have Polaris, which was actually started in the Red Hat Services team. And really, it's all about measuring software delivery performance. So kind of the DORA metrics, if you're familiar with them, and kind of understanding when you're taking these actions of rehosting, replatforming, and refactoring, are you increasing your software delivery performance or improving your software delivery performance? So with that, we'll go to the next slide and just look at, just to give you an overview of kind of what's happening across the various quarters and when some of the releases are planned. I won't go through this in detail because each team will take you through their release cadence. But as you can see, there's a number of releases of these tools taking place. They're not necessarily integrated at this point. These tools, they're kind of all standing alone. But the goal, I think, over time is to figure out the use cases where these maybe can also integrate together to help bring greater value to the user community. So with that, next slide, and I'll hand it over to the first presenter on the Forklift roadmap, Miguel.
Hola everyone, this is Miguel. I'm the product manager for the migration token for virtualization, which is the downstream of the Forklift project. So in Forklift, the next steps we're going to do first is going to GA Forklift, so it can be used for migrations for VMs from VMware initially to the target is KubeVirt on OpenShift virtualization on Kubernetes. So the version that we're going to go for in KubeVirt is 2.6.0. And we're adding in this release version warm migration, which means you will be able to start copying the data in your VMs before doing the migration. And then once you're going to migrate, the downtime will be heavily reduced by just copying the delta that is added to the VM while you were waiting for migration. And then, of course, we're going to add the pre-migration checks to ensure that the VMs that you're going to copy up to the point we can, of course, will be running properly in the target. So these checks will check for things like shared disks, row device mappings, or any other configuration in the VM that would affect its capability to run properly on the target platform. And then for the Q3 on 2021, we plan to release Forklift 2.1, which will support overt or virtualization as a sole provider with call migration only, which means you will have to shut down the VM before copying it. And then we will add extensibility to the migration with hooks, so you can run playbooks pre-migration or post-migration. For Q4 2021, we'll release Forklift 2.2, adding warm migration to the provider, which is rehabilitation or overt, and we'll include more metrics in custom resources, so we could track better the usage of the application. And then in Forklift 2.3, expected for Q1 next year, we're going to add OpenStack as a source provider, call migration only, to be able to start migrating virtual machines from OpenStack to KubeVirt and OpenShift virtualization. So next, please. At a glance, this will be the roadmap. March, as I would say, we have released the beta, so it's currently available, the beta version of Forklift. You also have the downstream build, which is migration token for virtualization available. And then in May, it will come the GA, which is expected for the 19th of May. Then 2.1 for Q3. The date that we are currently planning is June 28th, if I recall correctly. And then, of course, Q4 and Q1, we still do not have a date, but you can see the features there. And that's it. Back to you, Jonathan. Or James.
Actually, it's over to Marco. Yeah.
Over to Marco
okay.
then.
Next slide is Crane. So under Crane, we have we're already at 1.4, but we have a few Z streams coming. So in those Z streams, we will actually introduce additional functionality. So the first one is state-only migration. So this is a request that we've seen from sorry about that, from a few customers where today Crane actually migrates your Kubernetes resources and your PV, so your state. But in some cases, some customers want to reprovision their app from pipeline, but still use the tool to migrate the state, so the PVs. This is something that we are planning to introduce in one of the Z stream of the 1.4 release, as well as improving your. This has been a common theme for a long time. We're still and we've been improving significantly, but there's still work to be done on improving the debug experience as much as possible, and have the logs more user focused instead of just having a lot of debug logs, is to have more consolidated view of exactly what happened when something fails, and faster time to resolution when actually an issue happened during the migration. So that's for the next couple of Z streams of 1.4. And then later, end of August or beginning of September, we expect to have a 1.5 release, which will actually have some needs stay compatible to OpenShift 4.9. So this is one of the challenge of Crane, is there's a wide range of OpenShift versions or Kubernetes versions that need to be supported. So from the case of OpenShift, from 3.7 all the way to now 4.9. So there's some work that needs to happen there, as well as potentially leveraging the OADP operator for Valero instead of having this built in directly into Crane. Then this would become a separate component that could be used for backup purposes under OADP. So the work would be then split into two different components, which will make it easier from an engineering point of view as well to deliver those capabilities in the future. That's it for me.
All right, I think it's back to Miguel on the tackle roadmap. And Maya.
I'm on mute. So this is the roadmap for tackle. You see that the project tackle started. Well, first, let me introduce you to Maya. Maya will be also working on the tackle project. So Maya, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Miguel. I'm part of the IBM research team. I think we have several folks on the call today. So IBM is joining expanding on the efforts around MotorCube. We are joining the community, and I will briefly discuss what we are going to bring in as contributions to the tackle roadmap.
Thank you. So first, I'll start by saying that we started this project in February with the intention of expanding the capabilities that we currently have in the wind-up project, which is used to analyze the applications. And the first goals that we plan to deliver are in June this year, and we're going to deliver first. We're going to build a component which is the application inventory, the app inventory, that will be able to track the applications in your portfolio. So whenever you're going to do anything with your application, this will be a central point in which you will have the list of applications. We're adding also to the application inventory controls to be able to associate those applications with the right people and the right teams and be able to group them together into business services and be able to add your own metadata to the applications in form of tags, which will have their own tag types. And with this, you will have an application inventory and controls. And then we are adding also the capability of Pathfinder. Pathfinder is a questionnaire-based approach to help make a decision on where to start whenever you want to start transforming applications, and also some capability on automated configuration discovery that we will be adding for June. Then for Q3, we want to start integrating the analysis capabilities that come from the wind-up project that you can use currently today, migration token for applications, within the application inventory. So you could start the assessment phase and move into the analysis phase, keeping all the information that could help with the context. Maria, do you want to tell us about the other parts for Q3 2021?
Sure. Very, very happy to do so and very excited to be part of the community. So a couple of things, right? So Miguel spoke about Pathfinder. So we are looking into how can we bring complementary technologies to accelerate reasoning about containerization, in particular, provide capabilities to help with the assessment of the workloads and how to drive them, essentially match them to the OpenShift as a potential target. And another byproduct of containerization assessment is that we are generating a set of tags that can be used in the context of the app inventory that Miguel introduced. In parallel, we're bringing in new capabilities and essentially expanding the reasoning also about application refactoring. Sort of a common theme that spans this, and it's not limited to refactoring. We will be bringing in capabilities for automated config discovery, so understanding configuration at the application level in the origin and recommending reconfigurations for the desired target. And this spans is not limited to refactoring; it's also tied to the MotorCube and replatforming scenarios as well. And last but not least, is automated testing. Again, this thread also, or capability rather, is designed to ensure as you're going through the transformation of the application, whether through refactoring or replatforming, how do you ensure the consistency between the origin and the target workload? So those are the new capabilities that we are contributing in the context of the Tackle project.
Nice.
I'll hand it over to you, Miguel. Yeah, maybe just one last sentence. As Jim said, maybe these are initially starting as individual capabilities, but there are lots of user stories that span these capabilities, right? And we'll be looking into integrating those down the line. Yeah.
Nice. So by the end of 2021, the plan is to start that integration, and we want to first bring the wind-up projects into Tackle, which is the analysis project, which is the tool that analyzes your Java code or Java binaries to be able to provide guidance on how to modernize them in order to bring them to a new platform. And we want that to be integrated into Tackle, with Pathfinder, application inventory controls, and all the new capabilities that are coming. And that will mean the release of the version 6.0. I mean, I know that the project is new, but the version is 6.0 because we are inheriting a lot of capabilities that come from Wind-Up project that has already so far helped a lot in these migrations during years. And we want to leverage that. We want to bring that, all the knowledge that we coded in there into this project will be released, again, as version 6.0 EA. by the end of this year. I don't want to finish without introducing you to Ramon Nissen, who will be taking the role as product manager for WindUp, for Tackle, for migration to Kafka applications, which will be the downstream build that Red Hat will provide. Ramon, do you want to say a couple of words?
Okay, you get me by surprise here.
I know.
So yeah, my name is Ramon Nissen. I am the upcoming MTA, Migration Toolkit for Application product manager in Red Hat. And while I have a background doing this kind of migrations here in Red Hat consulting for years, and I really hope to start working on this soon. On the upcoming May the 1st, I will be joining the team. So very happy to be joining the family. Thank you.
Welcome. So now,
thanks Miguel and Maya and Ramon. And next is the move to Cube side. So Amit and Ashok.
Thank you, James. Okay, so since Move to Cube is kind of new, I think it's the first time we're actually talking about it. Just a little bit of background. So myself, Ashok, and a few of us, we're from IBM, and we developed this, I would say, in the hotbed of IBM work over a year, and then realized that this could be actually pretty useful to the community out there for migrating applications from a variety of different platforms over to Kubernetes. So about 5 months ago, we switched it over to open source and started this project, Move to Cube, part of Konveyor. So now I think the open source projects around this are pretty stable. So we have a pretty exciting plan for this year. Ashok will take you through that. Just want to call out a few dimensions that we are focusing on. One is making it a lot more easier to consume, through Operator Hub, through more customization, because different user environments will have need to customize a lot of different things. The second one is move further beyond already containerized platforms such as Cloud Foundry and Docker Swarm to actually language stacks like J2EE, .NET, and moving into Windows containers too. With that, over to you, Ashok. Take this up.
Thanks, Amit. So as Amit mentioned, the goal of MotorCube is to make it easily consumable and customizable. To that goal, right now, MotorCube is consumable as command line or as Helm chart with a UI. We will be releasing MotorCube in the Crew plugin repository. It already supports kubectl plugins, but we will be making it part of the Crew repository as part of the 0.2 release in Q3. In addition to that, we have extensive support for configuration files for non-interactive usage of MotorCube, and then for custom translations of artifacts. Like, for example, each company might have some customizations to their Kubernetes YAML that needs to be done. Now MotorCube can do it for them. We are also adding supports for Kubernetes version translations, moving between one version of Kubernetes, say 1.9 to 1.20. Now MotorCube can do it automatically. And we are also planning to support Customize, which is right now MotorCube supports Helm charts. And at the end of 0.2, we will have support for Customize-based YAMLs too. Moving further on to the next release, we are hoping to release into Operator Hub and add support for Spring Boot as some of the major features that we will be adding. Going further, we are looking at support for Windows containers, which will make it more compatible for .NET users where they cannot move to .NET Core. And we will be looking at supporting Argo CD and Netflix OSS as part of the 0.4 release in 2022. James, that's from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashok. I think that leaves us with the last project, Polaris. So last but certainly not least, Simon, you want to take over?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Simon Bayo. I'm a regional delivery lead working with the North American Services Organization at Red Hat. I'm part of the project management office. I am the project manager for Polaris. This slide looks pretty empty. I kept it because it's kind of a good visualization of our visibility in the future and our roadmap. We're not really yet productized, and we're leading this project as a project and as a side project for a lot of Red Hatters. So it's hard for us to put dates on any release. But that said, we do have a backlog, so we can move to the next slide, please, James. Before I go to the backlog, we did release Polaris 1.3 a couple of weeks ago, so these are all of the features that are part of it, mainly new exporters to pull data from external systems such as ServiceNow, improvements on documentation, and a few bug fixes and more testing capabilities. Next slide, please. So in the future, as I said, we don't have a clear visibility on the release dates, but we do have a backlog. Right now, we are focusing on the 1.3.1 release, where we want to increase the testing capabilities to be able to release more often and faster. This is a challenge that we've had so far, so we'll run with the dev team MBPM session to understand where we had some issues and where we needed to improve. So we're currently focusing on that. When this is done, we'll look at prioritizing the backlog, but mostly what we'll be looking at is to integrate more exporters, meaning that we want to pull data from other external tools. We want, of course, improve our documentation, testing capabilities, as I said, and also, if there are bug fixes that we need to take care along the way. In parallel, two major things that we'll be looking at this year. Currently, Polaris is designed for OpenShift, but we would like to expand the capabilities and being able to deploy Polaris to other tooling such as Ansible and any other maybe open source project. In addition to that, we'll be looking at increasing the number of metrics that we are gathering via Polaris. Right now, we are focusing on software delivery performance. In the long term, we'll be looking at some new metrics like value flow, customer experience, quality, and sustainability, supported tech adoption, and furthermore. That's pretty much it for me. Back to you, James.
Great, thanks. So Polaris project super exciting. We're hoping that as we kind of incubate it in the services organization, we can get some more full-time engineering development on it to productize it over time. So so thanks everybody for joining. I don't see any Q&A, but I know that we had a purposefully smaller audience for this recording. We're going to go ahead and post it on YouTube. If you do have questions, please join #Konveyor on slack.kubernetes.io. And go ahead and ask us there. I think most of the team is there, so introduce yourself, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. Or you can join the Konveyor mailing list. If you just go to the konveyor.io site, you'll be prompted to enter your email address, and we'll get you on there, and you can ask questions there as well. So with that, thanks for joining, for those of you that joined, and thanks to all the presenters as well. And we'll see you hopefully in June with another roadmap update.